is the first chapter of your moral science, and moral science is related with morality. And here we are going to learn about goodness, about doing good. We are going to learn that the first chapter says we are equal. We all are equal. Yes, we all are equal. God has made us. God has included us in the human race. Biologically, we are divided. All the organisms are divided into various kingdoms and various classes. And we human beings, we are Homo sapiens. That means we all are human beings. Whether you are born in Africa, whether you are born in Austria, whether you are born in Spain, whether you are born in Madagascar, whether you are born in India, whether you are born in China, we are human. We are made out of the same flesh and blood. But when the early human beings had a settled life, or in the starting period of civilization, it was a difficult problem for people to manage the society. Hence, especially in India, not only in India, in Greek civilization, if you see, in Chinese civilization, if you come to read about the civilizations in the upper classes, you will notice that a system was set up. In that system, every people were divided into various classes, and each class was assorted a task. They were given task. Suppose the ruler, the Brahmins, they were given a task to educate the society. The ruler class or the Kshatriya class was given to defend the society. The trader class was given to trade and to earn money for the society. And the last class, they were given to maintain the neatness and cleanliness of the society. But gradually, all the classes started to manipulate their power. So, the three other classes, they thought that the last class, who is keeping everything neat and clean, they thought and they took them for granted. And then they started they started to demean them by calling them untouchables. And this is a very pathetic irony of our Indian society till date. This is the issue when human being has reached the moon, and when today technology is advanced, still then the menace of casteism is existing in our society. Till date, you can find that this touchability is a big burning issue in various parts of the society. So, this chapter will make you known. We'll read various examples in this chapter. We'll read example that Gautam Buddha, we'll read example that Jesus Christ, and even Mahatma Gandhi. Everyone taught the same thing and one thing, that we all are equal. But still then, our minds are so much stigmatized by this caste system. We have a stigma of this caste system that we are not ready to accept that all are equal. Sometimes we always feel that we are very rich, others are very low, and we just think everyone is low. Sometimes we think that we are from upper caste, other one is lower caste. We start to demean them. We start to humiliate them. One or the other, while it is the human nature to find in superiority compared to others. This chapter is going to teach you and to explain you that all human beings are equal. We are equal. So, as your moral science teacher, the first chapter which I am going to teach you is we all are equal. And it is not only for moral science standard 5 chapter 1 and we'll finish after appearing the exam, then you go to standard 6, then you will forget this concept. This concept you have to imprint in your mind that we all are equal. Even the Constitution of India, when you start the first page, the preamble of the Constitution, we the people of India are equal. It is given. And even in the Constitution guarantees that all people are equal. No one will, suppose I'm befriending you, I will not befriend you on the basis that you are black, you are white, you are rich, you are poor, you are beautiful, and you are all those things. We all are equal. So Children, not wasting much time, let us begin with our first chapter of moral science. That is, let us begin with our first chapter of moral science. So, all of you open page number 5. We are all equal. It happened long years ago when Buddhism was spreading slowly among the people. So, when Lord Buddha or Gautam Buddha, he attained enlightenment, he started to preach Buddhism, and it spread far and wide. His enlightenment and that good acted towards his words of wisdom. According to Buddhist thought, the monks should go out and collect alms for their daily life. So the Buddhist monks, they were not entitled to earn any source of income. They had to go door to door to ask or to beg for alms for their survival. Alms means the things which they require daily, like rice, like pulses, oil, cloth, anything they wanted to live their life, they had to ask or borrow it from people. And people, it was not like that, they were not considering them as beggars, but they knew that these people have dedicated their life to spread awareness, to spread goodness, to spread wisdom, and to teach people how to live a good life. So out of courtesy, out of gratitude, they used to give things to these monks. Monks, other word you can say in Hindi, it is sadhus, to give them for their survival. As usual, one day a monk named Anand, who was one of the close disciples of Buddha, went to the town to collect alms. Anand, who was one of the close disciple means student or follower, one who follows. He went to ask the alms, collect alms. During his day-long journey, he was thirsty. Whole day going out begging. Just imagine you are coming to school and you are having a bottle, and every time, twice or thrice, you are filling the bottle from the aquaguards and all. So these people, when they go out whole day, they also felt thirsty. At that time, there was no water bottle system and no carrying water with you. And wherever you felt thirsty, you have to go to near a well or to ask some ladies or persons to fetch water. So he felt thirsty. While walking along the road, he saw a woman drawing water from the well. While he was walking, earlier well also has its own nice tradition. Now the wells are finishing up. It is less visible. Why? Because people opt for mechanized water systems. Means water pump, motor pumps are there, and so one small drill is done inside the land, bore is done, and water is it is sucked up to the tanks with that motors. But when well was there, well used to be the beauty of the courtyard of early houses. So on roadsides also, now we have frequent hand pumps. At that time wells were there. So he stopped and he saw that a lady was drawing water. She was just taking out water from the well. She belonged to the lowest caste of the society. So she belonged to the lowest caste. They are considered as untouchables. So in the earlier part of the video, I have told you about untouchables. I told you about the caste system. So this lady belonged to that lowest category of caste system. The monk went to her and asked her for a little water to drink. Anand went to him. He asked her, "Madam or lady, kindly can you give me a little bit water?" And at that time, no glasses and disposables were required. Just you have to open up your palm, and the person who used to give water used to pour water, and just you can drink it heart filled. As the monk approached her, she drew herself back. When the monk Anand reached the lady, "Can you give me water?" She came back. She drew herself back and said, "Please don't come to me." No, please don't come near me, she told. "I am an untouchable." She told, "I am untouchable. Please don't touch me. Don't come near me." On her hearing this, the monk Anand said, "Oh woman, I don't ask your caste, but only a little little water to drink. Anand told very simply and with clear words, you are untouchable, you are touchable, I don't want to touch you, you are untouchable, I don't want to be indulged in this matter. I am feeling thirsty, you are drawing water, I just want little water. He told that. Pleased with this answer, the woman gave him water to drink. She was very much emotionally filled. She was, because untouchables are very much neglected. I told you in the earlier part of the video. So when this person told that I want just water and I don't want your identity, who you are, what you are, I am least bothered about that. I am feeling thirsty, I want water from you. And this lady was moved emotionally. She was brimmed with tears. Later, Lord Buddha came to know about this incident and received this untouchable woman into his Sangha. So he called this untouchable woman. Just imagine nowadays, when technically we are so much advanced, we cannot ask a drop of water when we are dying, when we are feeling thirsty. When you go in trains, planes, everything, you have to carry your own bottle with you. Earlier, in early days was very, very nice, because the kings, queens and all, they had water providing facility everywhere. When the travelers were coming from far off distances, then what happened, they were provided water. When even during my childhood also I have seen, during summer days, the water drinking facility was throughout the road. Throughout the road you can see with in gradual distances, means just in considerable distances, they were considering that offering cold water in summer, hot scorching summer, is an act of goodness. But nowadays, during summer season, when you go to town for shopping and all, for purchasing purpose and all, and just you are standing in a daily need shop, you ask just kindly, can you provide me water? He immediately will say, just give a water pouch or give a water bottle, and he will sell water. Nowadays you cannot avail water. Even if you want to drink a glass of water, you have to purchase a pouch, or you want to drink a water bottle, you have to purchase a bottle. So nowadays they don't make you water available so that the water can be sold. So everything is commercialized. So where were we? So untouchable woman into his Sangha, he called him. So it was a big act of kindness that this lady, she provided water to Anand, and she was called into the Sangha. Sangha is the organization or the gathering of Lord Buddha. When she was introduced into the Buddhist monastery is convent, to the gathering where they live, where the monks live. When introduced to the Buddhist monastery, the king called him and asked, why did you receive a woman from a lower caste to your Sangha? So the king called Buddha, Gautam Buddha, and he just asked that Buddha the Great, why did you include a lady of lower caste into your organization? Lord Buddha answered, my lord, all men are formed and they come from the womb of mother irrespective of caste, creed, color. Lord Buddha gave a very wise reply. He told that all men and women are born in woman's womb. The children, they don't ask God whether you are sending me to the queen's womb, whether you are sending me to a black lady's womb, whether you are sending me to a British lady's womb. All are equal. Same blood, same flesh, all are born from mother's womb. His name is given as man. So man is equal. The height, health, size, shape, color may change, but the main making of the man, Buddha told, my lord, all men and women are born from mother's womb. So they are born irrespective of caste, color, creed. No child knows that he is born to which caste, to which creed. Creed means subcaste. And then to which color. No child decides that I am going to be born to African parents, or I am going to be born to a Briton parents, or I am going to be born to an Australian parent. No. main, no matter the child is born anywhere on the earth, whether he is born in Arctic, Antarctic, whether born in Australia, China, Mongolia, anywhere, the main configuration, the main build of a child is same flesh and blood everywhere. Emotions are same, anger is same. Just I told you. His name was given man. We see children who make different forms and images with the help of clay and call them with different names while they play. It's true. Children, when small children, when the innocent children, they are given a small chunk of clay. They make a man. They make different shapes. They make man and they name it different things and they play with it. But everything is made of clay. It is the same. Everything is made of clay. It is true. Likewise, all men are equal in front of God. God has made every man equal. It is the foolish thought of men that can divide them into different groups on the basis of color, caste, and creed. God made us equal. We have categorized persons. We have made low caste, high caste, middle caste. What is this caste? So, we have divided people. We have separated, categorized them. God made everyone equal. In the book of Bible, because these incidents and every civilization, in every society it is there. So now we related this incident of inequality related to Buddha. Now we will read the same type of some story. It is in Bible. In the book of Bible, we read a similar incident. While Jesus was moving towards Galilee, from Judah to Galilee he was going, he felt thirsty and sat down near a well. See again, a well is there. Well is a very important component associated with evolution of human being. So, he felt thirsty and sat down near a well. After some time, a Samaritan woman came there to draw water from the well. So, this Samaritan woman, Samaritan means persons who reside in the land between Judah to Galilee, there is a land, and these people were earlier they were Jews, they were considered Jews. As per my knowledge says, they were Jews and then later they adopted Christianity. But still then they were also considered a bit neglected, and they were also considered untouchables. He felt thirsty and sat down near a well. After some time, a Samaritan woman came there to draw water from the well. In those days, the Samaritans were considered as untouchables. These are the same thing. They were considered as untouchables. Or I told you, great people, they only profess humanity. They only speak for humanity. They don't say that you are black, I will not drink from your hand. You are too short, I will not talk to you. It is not like that. So, Jesus asked her for a little water to drink. On hearing this, the woman said, being a Judite, why do you ask water from me? Judite means belonging to upper caste. Why do you ask water to drink from me? I am a Samaritan. I am a Samaritan woman. I belong to the lowest category. I am the low caste lady. But Lord Jesus told her that it was the folly of men that divided into different groups. Folly means foolishness. Jesus told that God has made everyone equal, but it is the foolishness of people that they have divided persons into different categories, into different groups. He asked the people to believe in God from whom every man originated. God has made human beings, every human being equal. So he asked that you just believe that you are as same as a Judite woman. She also has flesh and blood, you are also having flesh and blood. She has emotions, anger, love, hatred. You also have the same thing. When she feels the pain, she cries. When you feel the pain, you also cry. So how are you different from her? How are you different from other ladies? The above two stories share an important message to humanity. At present, our society is divided into different groups based on caste, color, creed, material wealth, position, etc. So nowadays, earlier what happened, I had earlier when people were not so much materialistically aware, whether you are rich or poor, whether you are untouchable, whether you are black or white, you just ignore everything and you make friends. And this is the thing, that at present our society is divided into groups. We are very much aware. We only make friends who are materialistically affluent, who have a lot of things, who have more money, who are very beautiful, and we just make friendship, and we just mingle with people based by cars, color, money. We just see things. Even education was denied to the people who were considered as socially untouchables. Yes, this is a big fact, that the people belonging to the lower strata of society, they were neglected, they were denied of education. A bright example is Baba Rao Bhimsar Ambedkar. When he came to know, he studied a lot, and then some of the incidents, because he belonged to a Dalit family, he experienced some of the incidents that made him very much painful, that the people who belong to lower caste were neglected, and thus while making constitution he ensured that these people are not neglected and they get every benefit from the government. It is like that. We may think that these stories are formed centuries ago. If we make these stories as related to Buddha and modern history, we will be able to understand the fact that even now also people are thrown out of society only because of the reason that they are stamped as untouchables. Today I am shooting a video. Today is 13th. Yesterday night I read an article. A lady Sarpanch, somewhere from Andhra Pradesh, Guntur or somewhere, she is elected as the head of the panchayat. Lady Sarpanch means she is the head of the village. When a meeting was going on, I just read in the news, a meeting was going on, the other panchayat members, they were sitting on the chairs, but as this lady, she belonged to the lower caste, or she was Dalit, she was made to sit on the ground. Being a Sarpanch, she is the head of the panchayat and she is sitting down on the floor, and the other panchayat members, they are sitting on the chair. It is an irony of any society. Not only in India, it is not prevalent. The caste system is not prevalent in India only. Take it out of mind. Everywhere. Even you go to China, you go to Pakistan, you go to even different countries, US, America, everywhere. US, England, Sweden, Australia, go. Differentiation is there. This caste system not as complicated as in India, white and black. The whites they dominate the black. But now considerable things have come down, but still then it is prevalent there. Next, we can see in the Indian history that Gandhiji had urged the people to forget the feeling of caste, creed and color, and to get united for the eradication of untouchability from the Indian soil. Gandhiji had made various nice and sincere efforts to eradicate, to finish up untouchability from Indian soil. He was against the caste system. So Gandhiji was an opponent of caste system in India. He called the untouchables as Harijans. Hari means God, Jan means people. He called that these are God's people because they used to serve the other three categories, other three upper caste people. So it is not every person's guts or every person's courage to serve others. So these people were truly the main backbone of the society. Harijans are people of God. In America, recently, just 4 or 5 months earlier, in America, riots broke out because a black man was killed by the police. So the American Africans, they came out on the street vandalizing and destroying the properties and people of America. So this system based, because in foreign countries there is a big discrimination based on colors. They just call you blatantly, they will call you are black, you are white, just based on color. Other than Americans or other than the European people of the European nations, others are considered as black there in America or European nations. And on basing on colors, they do differentiate a lot. So in South Africa, Dr. Nelson Mandela voiced against apartheid, the separation of men as black and white. Nelson Mandela is known as the Gandhiji of South Africa. Sit in our home for spent a large part of his life. We have to go to the park during this COVID time. We have to go to eat gup and everything. But coming back to the chapter, Nelson Mandela had fought. He had struggled a lot for this apartheid system, this differentiation between black and white people, and he was jailed. We also should try to rise against the social evil. These social evils build strong barricades among men. We are trying to create obstacles among men, and hence our society gets divided. So we should not differentiate anyone. All are equal. All are equal. It's not like that someone is having blue color blood or someone is having black color. We must stand together. We strong barricades among men, separating one from the other. It is a great sin against man, moreover against God. When God has made equal, who are we to separate or to categorize each other? It is a sin against God. We must stand together against these social evils. Yes, we must be united to fight against these social evils. Such kind of negative attitudes must be eradicated from the minds of people, and feeling of equality should be established. But nowadays children are too much educated. They understand. They just don't pay heed to all these things that you belong this class, that class, blah blah blah. They don't pay heed. They all are united. Mostly children, they understand also, because this differentiation would have finished children. These children just understand that this caste system, this division, this categorization would have finished. But some politicians, they just want to make profit out of this separation. They want to. Though the children are educated, they understand, but some sections of the society, some illiterate people, they just with some selfish motives, they promote this differentiation, they promote this casteism, they promote this segregation and all. They promote this, and they just create a rift between people. They don't want to see people united. If people feel united, then selfish motive cannot be attained. So they always create obstacles in a united or in a well woven society. They create obstacles in that. The citizens of a prosperous nation will always be happy. They will be such joyous citizens. They contribute a lot to the prosperity of the nation, and the nation will progress. But some people are there who contribute to hamper the progress, who always try to create obstacle in the progress of nation. And being when you are studying all these things and being a children of educated parents, you should have the knowledge that which people they are creating nuisance, or they are creating obstacles to a peaceful society. So when you are befriending anyone, when you are making friends and mingling with someone, you see that something very selfishness is there, just avoid. So moral of the story is, every person is born on the earth in a child of God. We all are gift of God, and we are just equal. We all are equal. Now after teaching this lesson, if you go to chapter page number 8, and you'll see what we have to remember from this chapter, what you understood. We have taken a lot of time to. I have a dream that my 4 children in one day live in a nation where they will not be judged by the color of their skin, but the content of their character. Yes. Finally, whenever you will see that, you must have seen that we have various presidents. We have various Rashtrapatis. Some were Muslim, some were Sikh, some were Hindu, some were Christian. We had various. No one was made president on the basis of caste, creed, color, beauty, nothing. They were made president for their achievements, for their greatness, for their ability to rise. Believe in yourself, and always believe we all are one. We all are equal. No one is above anyone else. I hope you understood the chapter. In the next class, I will be sending you the solve chapter question.